The idea was supposed to be simple: meet a local witness by the Salt Fork River, record an in-person interview for my Sasquatch Theory series, and leave before dark. Ohio wasn't exactly Bigfoot country in the popular imagination, but Salt Fork State Park had a reputation: whispers of something tall moving through the trees, stories traded quietly at bait shops and campfires. The man I was meeting, a retired surveyor named Ron, stood near the riverbank with his hands in his jacket pockets, eyes scanning the woods more than looking at me. He spoke in short sentences, describing heavy footsteps on gravel, a smell like wet copper and rot, and something that crossed the river without slowing, water exploding around its knees. As he talked, the forest felt like it was leaning in. The air thickened, carrying a sharp mineral scent that made my throat itch. My recorder picked up a low, rhythmic clicking that neither of us noticed at first. Then the birds went silent. Ron stopped mid-sentence, his face draining of color. From across the river came a sound like a breath dragged through a massive chest, followed by a deep, chest-rattling huff. The brush on the far bank shuddered, and something stood up, too tall, too broad, its outline breaking the straight lines of the trees behind it. I raised my camera with shaking hands, half expecting it to vanish like a bad story caught on tape. Instead, it stepped forward. Gravel crunched under impossible weight. When it charged, there was no warning roar, no dramatic buildup, just sudden, terrifying motion. I ran. The ground sloped, my boots slipping on damp leaves. Behind me, branches snapped like dry bones. I felt the rush of air as it closed the distance, the sound of its feet hammering the earth in a rhythm that felt intentional, measured. Something struck my shoulder, not a claw, but a shove, like being hit by a moving wall. I went down hard, the camera skidding into the dirt. The smell hit me then, overwhelming. I rolled, expecting to see teeth, but instead there was a blur of dark hair and muscle as it veered away at the last second, stopping just short of crushing me. It let out a sharp, explosive grunt inches from my face, hot breath washing over me, and for a split second our eyes met. There was no mindless rage there. There was warning. I don't remember getting back to my truck, only fragments: Ron yelling my name, the engine screaming to life, my hands shaking so badly I could barely turn the key. I drove until the trees thinned and the road lights returned, then pulled over and vomited on the shoulder. That night, I replayed the audio. Beneath Ron's voice was the clicking, now louder, almost patterned, and the huff that preceded the charge. The video ended just as it lunged, the frame filled with motion and shadow. In the days that followed, the story spread faster than I expected. Skeptics said it was a bluff charge, a bear, a hoax. But Ron stopped answering his phone, and when I went back to Salt Fork weeks later, alone, the river looked smaller, quieter, like it was pretending nothing had happened. I walked the same stretch of bank, heart pounding, and found the marks, deep impressions in the mud, spaced too far apart to be human, pressed in with a weight that bent roots sideways. I left salt there, a habit picked up from old folklore interviews, a sign of respect, an offering, or maybe just an apology. The woods answered with silence. As dusk fell, I felt that same pressure again, the sense of being watched from multiple angles. A shape moved between the trees, not charging this time, just pacing me, keeping the same distance. I spoke out loud, my voice cracking, telling it I was there to listen, not provoke. The shape stopped. The clicking returned, softer now, almost curious. Then it retreated, melting into the forest without a sound. I left before full dark, my theory no longer about proving existence, but about boundaries, about how close we can get to the edge of another world before it pushes back. I still interview witnesses, still chase stories, but every time I'm near running water and thick woods, I remember the heat of that breath on my face, and the way Salt Fork taught me the difference between being charged and being spared.